11E. And for this project, I am making a presentation about traveling. The reason I chose this topic is because I also love traveling, although I don't think that is a very unique trait, as if there is something that almost all people can agree on, is that we all love traveling. Some might dislike certain aspects of it, like long car drives, or waiting at the airport, potential conflicts, but I have never actually met anyone that didn't like visiting new places, getting to know new people, or just resting somewhere away from home. Wherever you go becomes part of you somehow. This statement describes the experience of traveling pretty well, as wherever you go, you encounter people you can learn from, different incidents improve your problem-solving skills, and these trips can have a big impact on your life. On this slide, I displayed some of the places I have been to, and I will never forget the memories I made while visiting. So on this slide, I displayed the subtopics of the presentation. First, I am going to talk about the advantages and benefits of traveling. Next, we are going back in the past and look at how people managed even hundreds of years ago. Then we are going to talk about the most significant means of transportation. Our next topic is individual tourism versus package tourism. We are going to discuss active and passive traveling. And last but not least, we are going to see the environmental effects of traveling. First, let's talk about the benefits of traveling. Although people travel for different reasons and their visions of the perfect holiday are also different, but there are some advantages that are the same for all of us and that make this hobby very attractive. So first, one of the main reasons people go on holidays is getting away from everyday life and the stress factors of their lives. This is a way for us to take our minds off responsibilities and worries, and helps us concentrate on ourselves. Next, seeing the world, different people, and new cultures is also worth mentioning. Even the most common activities like sitting or eating are done differently in different parts of the world. And you might not even realize adopting a new habit or learning a new useful skill. When traveling, one must try the local cuisine. And although nowadays you can find the restaurants of different cultures in bigger cities, it is always best to try them where they originate from. Traveling is also a great way for us to step out of our comfort zones. This includes trying new activities, extreme sports, or even the way other cultures might use ingredients that are not common where we come from. And as we face new challenges everywhere we go, it also improves our problem-solving skills. From my experience, the people who travel the most are best at navigating in unfamiliar places and dealing with unexpected situations. And traveling is also a great way to meet new people and make friends. Some of them can stay lifelong friends for us, but they can also help us understand the locals. And lastly, being able to practice languages while traveling is another great advantage. If you study the language of a country you travel to, one of the best ways to practice is talking to the locals. But even if you don't learn the language of a country you're visiting, you can always polish your English, as nowadays it is the easiest way of communicating in foreign places. Let us go back to the past. So, Traveling has always played a role in our lives, but never as important as today. In the past, most people never even left their villages their whole lives, but nowadays you can live in one town and work in another. Most families also go on vacation multiple times a year, and even to faraway countries. This is all thanks to the fact that it has become more accessible. And we have more possibilities too nowadays. And because of this, it has become part of our everyday lives. It is also undeniable that it is more affordable today. In the past, only the wealthy could afford to travel. New inventions have made traveling faster and faster, and even the ones that existed in the past, for example, the train, are able to reach higher speeds. For example, in the 1800s, trains used to go at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour, but today the fastest train is able to reach 600 kilometers per hour. And of course, in today's society, new innovations help us make traveling faster and more sustainable. So the first recorded boats in history were the long reed boats. They were invented in ancient Egypt, and this was one of the first civilizations on Earth. Before cars, horse carriages were used. In medieval times, the average speed of horse carriages was around 16 kilometers per hour. And compared to today's cars and the fact that there was no actual road system, trips that today take us a few hours used to take multiple days. And on this slide, you can see the first mass-produced car. Its name was Ford Model T. It was designed by József Galamb and was manufactured on assembly lines, making it the first affordable car to the public. Its top speed was around 65-70 kilometers per hour. So next, we are going to talk about the most significant means of transportation. So first, of course, we have cars. 80% of Hungarian households owns at least one car, some even two. They are the most universal of all, as they are comfortable for shorter and longer distances. From going to the store to going on vacation, they have a very wide variety of uses. However, nowadays they are rather frowned upon because of their environmental impact, but we are going to discuss that later. Of course, trains are also widely used. In bigger cities like Budapest and Vienna, suburban trains provide a fast way of connecting different parts of the city. They are even more popular for longer distances. A good example for this is Interrail, which connects Europe as a whole. Interrail gives you access to 30 to 40 different railway and ferry companies, and in 33 different countries. They are also a more environmentally friendly alternative compared to cars. Next are buses. They are mostly used as public transportation in towns and cities, and a way of connecting the surrounding villages with them. Although long-distance coaches exist, they are forced to the background by trains and planes. Airplanes are only used for longer distances that would either be impossible or difficult to cover using any kinds of trains or cars, or at least they should only be used in these cases. Although they are way faster than the ones mentioned before, because of the safety inspections, the check-in, the long wait at the gates, and later at the baggage reclaim, these trips can take a whole day. A lot of people are afraid of planes, either because of their fear of heights or because of the catastrophes they saw on TV. And even though they have a bad reputation, because of the strict safety guidelines, they are the safest long-distance transportation at the moment. Aviation means the operation of an aircraft. Ships' most common use is for transportation and shipping. However, multiple cruise ships take thousands of tourists on vacation every year, and ferries help us cross bodies of water, reach islands, or cross lakes like Balaton. And taxis have the simple purpose of going from one place to the other in cities or towns. They are a more comfortable but more expensive alternative to buses. So here are some of the less common means of transportation. First, the motorcycle, the previously mentioned cruise ship, the helicopter, and the hot air balloon. Lastly, the more and more popular electric scooter. You can find these in bigger cities nowadays everywhere, and you can use them by throwing change into them. And later you can leave them at your destination, and another person can just easily pick them up. So let's talk about individual tourism and package tourism. So when planning a trip, you have the opportunity to do that individually or with a travel agency. And the latter is called package tourism. So first, let's talk about individual tourism. This is the best option for you if you like to stay independent, because this way you have more freedom, you're free to do anything you like, and you only have to visit the places that interest you. You also won't experience the rush of package holidays either, and this is also the best choice for you if you like spontaneity, because package holidays don't make last-minute change of plans possible. You also don't have to have holiday with strangers, because when an agency plans your trips, they usually arrange it with others, and you have to share accommodation too. And this way you only have to be with people you know, like your friends and family. Package tourism, on the other hand, requires much less time and effort because the agency does everything for you, and it is more comfortable to have your holiday planned by them. You also get around with a tour guide who usually knows everything in the area and the spots worth visiting. This is also a good way to get to know people, although it can be uncomfortable for some, as I said on the previous slide, but others enjoy having bigger company and getting new friends. The language barrier is also not much of a problem because the tour guide usually speaks the local language. Unfortunately, this way it is also harder to get to know the locals, as you constantly have people around you that you can easily communicate with. As everyone likes to do different activities, everyone spends their holiday differently. One way you can distinguish this is whether you like active or passive holidays. First, let's talk about active travelers. They usually like to make their trips full of experiences, and they love feeling productive. This can mean trying sports, going hiking or sightseeing, and active traveling also gives you the opportunity to try new activities like scuba diving or surfing. They always love to make the most of their trips, and they never focus on relaxing. Active travelers often try extreme sports like bungee jumping or skydiving. So passive travelers, on the other hand, like to focus on resting. And the best way to do this is by going to somewhere to a place with a beautiful scenery, preferably with a beach or a wellness hotel. These places you can sunbathe, swim, or sit in a bar. This kind of traveling is especially popular with families with small children, because the children don't usually appreciate activities such as sightseeing or hiking as much. But the beach is the perfect place for them because they can play, build sandcastles, or swim. Although traveling is great and I also love it, we cannot ignore the severe environmental effects of this hobby. So traveling and tourism contributes to global warming greatly, and from these, air travel is the most polluting way of transportation. It actually contributes to global climate change by 5%. Actually, traveling by train is the most environmentally friendly way. Nowadays, railway companies provide you information about how much carbon dioxide one saves by choosing to travel by train instead of a car. For example, on a trip from Szeged to Budapest, you can save 24 kilograms of carbon dioxide. Traveling also causes air and sound pollution. The latter is the less known one. It basically means unwanted or disturbing noise that interferes with humans and wildlife, or even harms them. So, how much do different means of transportation contribute to global warming? So, I brought a graph, and as you can see it, airplanes are the most polluting means of transportation. They actually pollute 4 times as much as a national train. It is visible that trains and coaches are the least polluting way you can travel. And considering the fact that we use our cars on a daily basis, it also makes them great polluters. However, something that is very promising is that new innovations and models like the Eurostar are becoming more and more sustainable. So, for the sake of our planet and environment, we as individuals have to do better. That's why I collected some steps that can make somewhat of a difference. First of all, always choose the least polluting possibility. This especially applies to airplanes, and only fly if there is no other possibility. If possible, go by train. If you do have to travel by plane, then most airlines nowadays offer carbon offset schemes. This basically means that by paying somewhat more for your ticket, the airline tries to reduce or make up for the amount of emissions produced. This should be evident and applies to anywhere in the world, but you should always protect the area you are visiting. Don't throw away trash, don't disturb or destroy nature. Most of the tourist sites are filled with thrown away garbage, and this is also a very crucial environmental issue. And lastly, make your travel worth it. And by this, I mean don't only stay in your hotel, but try out things that you couldn't do at home and make the most of the time you are visiting. On this slide, you can see my sources. And thank you for your attention.